off all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night vVv Gaming style series with Jerhyn playing as Terran against the infamous RuFF. Jerhyn deciding to change his color to yellow at the last moment, so this will be the yellow Terran versus the red Terran here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.
It looks like RuFF spawning as the, as you mentioned, the red Terran in the northeast position, and Jerhyn from Team Imba spawning as the yellow Terran in the southwest position. And again, a map everybody knows. It's survived all the latter seasons thus far. Metalopolis did as well the first 2 seasons, recently taken out. I'm sure a lot of players were upset about that, but you've still got Xel'Naga to fall back on. And RuFF and Jerhyn, I'm sure, have played this hundreds and thousands of times on the ladder and in practice games. So I think both of them know about the positioning, the rush distances, what sort of strategies are really viable. And it looks like RuFF, I thought he was going to send that SCV down the ramp, but just making that first supply depot on the top of the ramp, so might have some sort of standard game coming from him, at least in the early going here.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be a pretty mirror match already. You can take a look at the production tab. Both players doing everything at pretty much the same exact moment. Most likely we will be getting a barracks placed down, as I don't see any early gas coming in from either of these players. And it looks as though RuFF dancing around with this SCV. That SCV now spazzing out just a little bit as both barracks are placed down nearly simultaneously, as we should also be getting a refinery in just a moment. Now, in Terran versus Terran, you always have to be really careful about what your opponent's doing. If your opponent is going to be running off of a lot of barracks plate, you cannot be trying to expand right behind it, just because all Terran units have so much range and your bunkers are not nearly as effective. So I expect to see a scout at some point. I'm not quite sure, as we now see RuFF going into an early double gas. What do you make of this?
Yeah, and Jerhyn actually doesn't have any gas at all, so we'll see what he's got going compared to RuFF, but RuFF looking to tech up early, and the double gas here, again, I predicted in the first game was wrong, but might see some sort of Banshee play. I can't really imagine he'd use it for much else. He is saturating all these as well, and we don't have Jerhyn scouting yet, so I'm not quite sure what either player is really going to be doing in terms of scouting here. RuFF just now sending over his first SCV, and Jerhyn going for a fast command center, a fast expand. So the tech of RuFF going to be going against the economy, the macro of Jerhyn.
Yeah, you can now see RuFF moving in with that SCV. I'm not sure if that SCV will actually be able to slip by, able to do so as Jerhyn was not ready for it. And now RuFF going to take a look around, pretty much see the double command center. We also see double gas now being placed down by Jerhyn as well, as the SCV tries to run back around, get a little bit more of scouting information, but unable to do so. We are getting that factory down by RuFF. We have a lot of gas by RuFF. And with this, it looks like he's going into double factory. So this may be that Blue Flame Hellion strategy that we did see a little bit earlier, and I am very, very curious as to whether or not RuFF will be able to get a lot of damage off with these units, with these Hellions.
Yeah, we'll see whether he actually pulls off gas here once the Blue Flame does start researching. As you've mentioned, probably going to be that double factory Blue Flame that we did see him use on the same map against Hannibal. And Jerhyn is going to have a wall down, so he's not going to be letting those Blue Flames up into his base anytime soon. Now placing down a bunker as well, but it might be a little bit difficult for him to actually take that natural expansion. He does have the second command center on the way here, or the second orbital just now building, so he will be able to drop the double mules on his main base, but might not be able to take that natural with all these Blue Flame Hellions about to come out for RuFF.
Yeah, the only issue right now that I see from RuFF is that RuFF has no way of getting sight onto the high ground. If you guys were watching the Prime versus vVv Gaming matchup a couple weeks ago, you know that Hannibal lifted off of barracks in order to gain sight onto that bunker. Currently, the bunker does have 3 Marines. Those Marines have a range of 6. I believe that the Hellions would have been able to get some damage onto the supply depot without the Marines actually being able to fire back. But we are also going into a starport, so it may just be that he is going to be opening up and trying to do a drop in just a couple seconds.
And it looks like Jerhyn actually going for Blue Flame as well, but he's just going to be off the one factory, so he's not going to have as many of the Hellions out as RuFF. RuFF does have the double factories, one of which has a reactor, so making 3 Hellions for every 1 that Jerhyn does have. And when you get into Hellion Wars, it can definitely get interesting. It really comes down to micro and positioning. I haven't really seen any high-level Hellion wars yet where players really do a good job. Usually it's still a lot of A moving and just allowing the Hellions to do their thing. But I'd love to see some Hellion micro here from RuFF, as we do have a second factory now being added for Jerhyn. So he's going to have a reactor on that one as well. It's going to be pretty similar builds as we see the Hellions knocking on the front door of Jerhyn.
Yeah, the Hellion's not going to be able to do much damage at all. You can see that the bunker is pretty much in position to try to ward off against any of those Hellions. There's also a Viking in the air, so that Viking should be able to start dealing damage to that barracks rather easily, as a siege tank now rolling out as well. The siege tank does not have siege tech though, so this is just a very interesting build by RuFF, as RuFF only has 24 SCVs, meanwhile 32 for Jerhyn, and Jerhyn does also have the benefit of that additional mule, so Jerhyn really with the stronger economy at this point.
And Jerhyn has out a Viking as well, so I'm not really sure what he's doing with this. He has a floated barracks off to the left-hand side, perhaps to spot, and maybe he expected some Banshee play following the Hellions here, but now RuFF borrowing from Hannibal a little bit, using this barracks to pound on that supply depot, try to take it down. It is out of range of that bunker, so once that goes down, the Hellions might be able to get up into the main of Jerhyn here.
Yeah, and here we go. We also see RuFF with one siege tank on the low ground, and one of the interesting things about the siege tank is it does have a range of 7, so that range of 7 will allow it to shoot at the bunker without the bunker being able to fire back. We do have that Viking now engaging against the medevac. The medevac needs to run away. There's nothing that can really challenge that medevac for air superiority. No Marines even on the ground, so that is going to be a definite issue. Perhaps the barracks of RuFF should land and train up at least a Marine or two halfway across the field in order to make sure that the orbital command does not land, and also that the Viking does not stick around for far too long.
Now RuFF going to cloaked Banshees, and he's adding a reactor to his second starport, so I imagine he's going to be double pumping Vikings here, but Jerhyn got out a Raven, so throwing down that point defense drone, he might be able to wrestle back air superiority from RuFF, as we see a bit of engagement here. Jerhyn going down his ramp, taking out all the units of RuFF, and right now it is 34 to 69, so RuFF might have been getting a little bit too cute for his own good here, as Jerhyn does have his expansion landed. RuFF only halfway done with his command center, investing in a lot of different tech here, and I'm not sure whether it's going to pay off.
Yeah, RuFF has dug himself into a very, very deep hole, and we'll see whether or not he can get back in. He is going for that Banshee, as you mentioned. Cloak about halfway done, but I don't believe that that Banshee will be able to stick around for very long. You can see now Marines are making their way out, and there's also that Raven in the air alongside a Viking, the two counter units to the Banshee, or at least early game Banshee, as the command center about to be completed. Vikings are also going to be added as an escort, and only from RuFF would I expect one base, double starport, double factory with a reactor and tech lob on each, and he's somehow trying to make this work. He's now sitting at 59 over 94 compared to 84 over 86. The production tab of Jerhyn really needs to start macroing up even more quickly, perhaps even trying to take down these destructible rocks and striking while the iron is hot.
And RuFF actually lost that barracks, which he floated over there, so that means he can't build factories, he can't build bunkers. He might have to build another barracks here, even though he is going for the double factory, double starport at some point. And yeah, now we see the barracks going up, as Jerhyn now testing the front door of RuFF, and RuFF landing that command center. I'm not really sure whether that was a smart move. And pushing out here with his air force, he was able to get a lot of shots down on that Viking, but now the point defense drone absorbing a lot of shots here from the Vikings, but it looks like RuFF has wrestled back air superiority, and now he's just going to go to town with the Banshees and the Vikings.
Yeah, this is absolutely cute coming in from RuFF. RuFF able to just shut down the Banshees, or shut down the Vikings, shut down the Raven, and also just force all of these Hellions to retreat home. So Hellion wars here in the Zelnaga Caverns, as this army of Vikings and Banshees are making their way out. You can also see that there are a couple of Hellions here trying to defend, but this is going to be a problem, as there are going to be perhaps a split of Hellions trying to run into the base. Supply depot is being placed down on the far side of this brush here. Will it come down in time?
Yeah, there's 12 Hellions right now for Jerhyn on the field, only 6 for RuFF. But again, RuFF does have the 6 Vikings and the 2 Banshees, but now it looks like the Hellions moving in, and awful positioning by Jerhyn, immediately taking down the 6 Hellions of RuFF, able to easily take down the 6 of Jerhyn. Jerhyn keeping 6 Hellions back at home. Not really sure why, as RuFF has all air at this point, and now he's just going to try to work on these SCVs to prevent these missile turrets from going up.
Yeah, so double Banshees. Vikings now going into the ground mode, adding insult to injury, shutting down many of these missile turrets here, and now attempting to deal even more damage. The Vikings don't, or the Banshees don't even have a proper air escort, as the Vikings are simply just running in. Hellions now trying to get some damage, but Hellions cannot counter Vikings on ground mode, and that was more of a desperation move coming in from Jerhyn. I think Jerhyn got a little bit too cute, thought that he had too strong of an advantage, and now RuFF running in with one Banshee sitting at 85 food compared to 56, and it looks like RuFF doing a very, very good base trade at this point.
And now Jerhyn landing his Vikings as well, trying to take down the landed Vikings of RuFF, but it looks like Jerhyn actually sort of wrestled this back. He does have out 4 Vikings right now. RuFF has 4 as well, but they're all split up. He's got 2 in the natural of Jerhyn, now coming in here with his 3rd and 4th. And we'll see, this is just a crazy air battle at this point.
Yeah, and now to add more to the air battle, we finally have a Thor joining in on the fight. The Thor, we all know, does a lot of splash damage to Banshees, and the Banshees finally deciding to come home. And I don't think anyone could have been expecting this Viking Banshee Hellion Wars here in the Zelnaga Caverns.
And if you look at the income counting station, it is 39 harvesters to 31. So RuFF actually has the economic advantage. He's got the food advantage, 88 to 63. This is a complete reversal from the early game. I'm not sure how RuFF did it, but Jerhyn falling behind at this point really needs to make a move to get ahead.
And to make things a little bit more interesting, 2 more starports now coming in addition to the fusion core. And we all know that that means that battle cruisers will be coming online. And I don't remember the last time I actually saw a battle cruiser used in a Terran versus Terran, except for Root QXC's battle cruiser rush that he did against Infolinko a couple months back. And I think that was it.
Yeah, you definitely need to sort of protect those battle cruisers. There's such a huge investment with Vikings, so RuFF gonna try to keep working on his Viking count at this point. He has 6 compared to the 4 of Jerhyn, but battle cruisers definitely very good against those Thors. Thors doing bonus damage to light, battle cruisers anything but light, and now it looks like RuFF trying to take this gold. He is protecting with the massive amount of Hellions, Banshees, and Vikings he has here. He also has control of both towers. Jerhyn, again, floating his racks on the left-hand side. He's got a Marine over there as well, as a Marine on the right-hand side. So both players with decent positioning and map control at this point, but RuFF definitely with the advantage, now taking this gold command center.
Yeah, this gold command center will be completed in about another 35 seconds or so. Also, I'm surprised that this set of destructible rocks leading to the low ground third base has yet to be destroyed. This is normally when players want to establish 2 bases. One, because they're still training up workers. Secondly, because the main bases are almost mining out. You can see RuFF down to 5 mineral patches in his main base. And I'm looking for an armory. An armory is being built, 2 armories in fact. And that is going to be very, very interesting to see as the Hellions now make their way out, going to perhaps shut down some of these other Hellions, but the Hellions do move very quickly. And the way these Hellions are moving across the map, it really reminds me of Mutalis in a Zerg versus Zerg mirror match, just trying to get map control.
Yeah, I mean, no barracks units from either player at this point. It's fascinating. Just going off these factories, RuFF now has 4 starports, and he has triple pumping battle cruisers. Battle cruisers are operational at this point, also working on the ship weapon level 1, and we'll see, it looks like Jerhyn did catch a glimpse of those battle cruisers, and he is actually pushing out here with these siege tanks.
Yeah, so Vikings Banshees are now making a move out. The Thors are going to be able to just shut down those Banshees. The Banshees are currently stacked up on top of each other. That's exactly what you don't want to see. Viking after Viking, and the Vikings are going to be exchanging blows, but that means that the battle cruisers are going to be able to finish up the battle here as the Banshees are attacking the ground. Jerhyn just getting completely caught off guard as the battle cruisers now slowly make their way out. One Viking trying to engage, unable to do so. It looks like another round of javelin missiles will come down, but it is only going to hit those poor Vikings, and the Vikings can take those javelin missiles, and there is the game between RuFF and Jerhyn.
Wow, so that was unlike any TBT I've ever seen. Both players sort of going for the same unit matchup or the same unit composition. Jerhyn getting down his natural a little bit earlier, but then both players sort of trading aggression back and forth, and eventually ending it with that killer unit. 3 battle cruisers basically blasted through everything that Jerhyn had.